Welcome back to the My Latin Life podcast. Since 2014, My Latin Life has been your trusted guide to traveling and living in Latin America. Our guest today is Ginger. You can find her on Twitter, on X, at HandyGingerGal, where she has 19,000 followers. She also has a YouTube channel. Ginger, how's the YouTube channel called? A Ginger in the
It's
Wild.
the ginger in the wild.
A
Yeah,
gi-
I will be changing that. We're doing a slight rebrand in the next month or two because I have more other things coming up, but that's it for now.
I love your YouTube channel. We'll get into that. Ginger, how are you doing? Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm doing awesome. I've already been out in the mud today, but it's a sunny, beautiful day so far. We've beat the rain.
And you're calling in from Costa Rica?
Yes.
Nice. What part?
So we live in Coto Bruce Canton, which is the very far south central part of the country. So right up against the Panamanian border. It's about half an hour to Panama from my house. So up in the central mountains. So
Okay, kind of near Puerto Viejo.
no, Puerto Viejo is on the Caribbean coast.
Uh,
So we're almost in the middle of the country, pretty close, um, between Pacific and Atlantic. But right up against the Panamanian border. So Puerto Viejo is about 9 hours from my house.
it's a big country. It's a surprisingly big country. So you're in Costa Rica. You
Hmm.
are Canadian originally, right?
Yes.
And you really caught my attention on Twitter, just talking about your experience homesteading in Costa Rica. Your YouTube videos are crazy, guys. For the audience, I saw her build like a small A-frame shed mini house thing, basically by herself. I was blown away. It was so cool, and everything. So, I guess tell us a little bit more about your story.
So we are from Southern Ontario in Canada, and my husband and I have always just been office people, right? We had 6 kids, so we spent our whole lives just taking care of kids and working. And then COVID hit,
Six
and
kids.
yeah.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Sorry. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to catch up.
Oh, good. Have as many as you want. I would have had 10 more if I could have. That's for sure. I loved having kids.
Yeah, yeah. We'll definitely touch upon that in the podcast, like having kids in Latin America.
Mhm.
But yeah, please continue.
So, once COVID hit, it kind of stirred things a lot of stuff up, and Canada started to get really bad about COVID with lockdowns and restrictions and mandates. So, our original 5 to 10 year plan for retirement outside of the country got escalated to basically an 18-month plan. So Costa Rica was on the top of our list of places just because we wanted something with a year-round growing season.
Hmm.
It was super important to us to be able to grow our own food. We were concerned about supply chain interruptions, and I wanted to make sure that we could live as affordably as possible and sustain ourselves mostly on our own land if we absolutely had to. So Central America offered a lot of opportunities for that. Costa Rica has it's pretty much, I would say, the safest country in Central America generally, and has some amazing people. So it made the top of the list very quickly. We wanted some place that didn't have a history of violent revolution or
Hmm.
despotic regimes, or you know what I mean? Like we were leaving Canada because we wanted to get away from the restrictive restraints
The
of
tyranny.
authoritarian government. Yes. So we were determined we weren't going to go anywhere that had communists in charge anytime recently. So Costa Rica made the grade. And because we really like adventure activities, hiking and whatnot, it was a pretty easy decision because you could spend the rest of your life like exploring this country and never get tired of it. So,
Seriously.
and that's all easy to do cheap. So
And had you been to Costa Rica before?
no, never. We moved completely. Well, I wouldn't say completely blind. We spent about 18 months doing research, right? And we contacted a resettlement specialist that helps with resettlement here. So we could ask her a ton of questions and we got lots of information from her. So we didn't come in completely blind, but we had never been here before. So we came in that blind.
Wow. And were you familiar with this kind of terrain, this kind of climate? Because obviously it's very different than Southern Ontario.
Indeed. No, this was all new for us. I mean, where we were in Canada, has a lot of, there's a lot of escarpment there. There's a lot of large cliff faces and lots of hiking, tons of waterfalls. So it was about as close to Costa Rica as anywhere in Canada could get, but it was still very different. Like the climate's completely different. We'd been to Mexico a couple times already. We'd been to St. Lucia. We'd been to Jamaica. So we were familiar with what
Hmm.
tropical climate was like somewhat, but um, the important thing for my husband was to go somewhere that wasn't, he wanted to make sure it wasn't going to be really hot. Like Central America was never even going to be on the list of choices until he found out that in Costa Rica, at least, because of the mountains, there are areas where the climate is really temperate.
Yeah.
'Cause we would never be able to be down by the beach. Like my husband cannot tolerate the heat very well at all. So where we chose in the mountains, we're at 3,600 feet. So our temperature is
3,600
very
feet.
mild. Yeah,
So like 1,200 meters, roughly.
close. Yeah, similar to that. So, I mean, are you do you do, where are you, where are you right now?
I'm a man of mystery, but I've spent a
Oh,
lot of
okay.
time in for me, it's more the Mexico coffee zone. I spent a lot of time living in at about 1,400 meters of elevation. You're at
Oh.
about 1,100, it looks like, according to my
So in
math. So
Celsius,
it's similar.
during the day, it gets to about maybe 28 degrees most days, but in the shade, it's like 6 degrees less, right? And then at night, it'll drop to 16. So we never need air conditioning. It's perfect. Right, like in the evening, we drop the blinds on our rancho, light a fire. We have a fire pit. We light a fire just to keep the chill off and the bugs away. And that ends up being perfect. It's perfect for sleeping. And then work during the day is, I mean, it can still be hot in the sun, but it's not that hard to work during the day in 28 degrees if you have a little mountain breeze coming across the top. So.
Hmm. And I'm curious about the visa. Which one did you do the pensionado visa, or which one did you do?
Oh, we haven't submitted applications yet because we are going for the investor's visa. I mean, Costa Rica has a whole bunch of different visas, but I'm only 52 and my husband is only 54, maybe 55. So we're nowhere near the pensionista visa. Like we're not close to retirement age yet. So we were going for the investor's visa, but the first property we bought, which was the farm that we live on, doesn't meet they require $150,000 US investment to qualify for that, and our farm was not that much money, it was only 80,000. So we had to spend some time, first of all, waiting for my husband's private pension to get unlocked so that we had access to that money. And then we had to start searching for a second property that we were going to use as an investment property to rent out. And that would combined qualify for the visa for the investment visa. So that's where we're at that stage now. So this year we will be submitting our applications for that. Right now we're still on visitors visas, which is 180 days.
Nice. And you're hunting for that second property?
No, we have it now. I've just spent the last year renovating it and building furniture for it so that it's now. My husband's actually there right now showing somebody through to see if we can get a renter in there. So,
That's so cool. So the property I've seen on YouTube is absolutely beautiful. It literally looks like paradise. Like, guys, the mountains of Costa Rica. How did you find this particular spot?
So, when we first came down, we had a short list of places in the country that we already knew we wanted to look at. That's where all the research in advance came in, right? Um, so we eliminated coastal areas because of the temperature. We didn't want to be anywhere near the city, or any of the large tourist areas, just because we didn't want a lot of transient traffic, transient neighbors, right? The tourist areas come inherently with a lot of petty crime, and it's a different vibe in the tourist areas. The locals are wonderful people, but they can be resentful in the tourist areas, and for good reasons, because tourists can be really big jerks, right? Like it's hard to live in an area
Mm.
that's like that. So we wanted to avoid those areas. So we had maybe 4 or 5 areas in the country that we had on our list to check out, and we just literally went from one Airbnb to another over about a 6 month period, and to see what it was like to live in those areas. So La Fortuna was the first one. We almost bought a house there, but the deal fell through. That
Mm.
is my favorite part of the country for a lot of reasons, but I'm really grateful the deal fell through because when we came down to the south here, the moment I set eyes on this property, I said, this is the one, right? Like, so it ended up being like meant to be kind of thing because it really is like my video and pictures are not filtered. That's exactly what it's like to live here. It's just amazing. I wake up every day and I just look at my husband and say, I can't believe we get to live here. Like, I just feel that fortunate. But this area here in particular drew us because my husband really liked the story of how it was founded. So the area where we are, the main town here is called San Vito. And in the
San Vito.
50s, yeah,
I'm looking at a map. I see it.
okay.
I'm a
So we're
map
right in
guy.
that area. No, I hope so, right? So in the 50s, this was nothing but jungle, just jungle and a few disparate tribes, right? Like indigenous tribes. That was it.
Uh,
And the Costa Rican government wanted this area kind of opened up a little, so they came up with a plan that they were going to offer free land to anybody who wanted to come and settle and build a farm and start farming here, right? So a whole bunch of people from Italy got on an airplane and flew over and took up some free land.
no
So the
way.
whole area here was founded by Italians. So my
Interesting.
husband loves Italian food, so he was very intrigued by that. Plus, so the idea of being in an area that was kind of recently pioneered, just because it felt like that was the kind of people that do that are the kind of people like we are. So we felt
Mm.
like we would get along. So he was intrigued by this area just because of that founding story. And then when we came here, like I came on a scouting trip. My husband, when we first moved here, was still working. We were up by San Jose,
Mm.
and I left him there and I came for a scouting trip with my daughter, who is living with us still. Um, and as soon as I drove into the area, just the main highway coming through the mountains, it was so beautiful. I was like, oh, this is it. I like we can stop looking. This is the area for us. So, and when I brought him, immediately felt the same way. It's absolutely breathtaking down here. It's a real shame actually because most of the country here completely ignores this area. And anybody who, like even the resettlement specialist, when I asked her about this area, she says, I know nothing about that area. Like she doesn't have anybody that comes here. And I'm happy about it because it means it's kind of unspoiled for us. But it's also a shame because a lot of people come to Costa Rica and don't realize how nice it is down here just because it's 8 hours from the airport. And it's very limiting for some people. But if
Yeah.
you want quiet and you want beautiful and you want friendly people and you want to integrate, this is the place, right? Like, it couldn't be easier to live in this country.
This highway, they don't even have Google Street View on. It's crazy.
Which highway? I don't know which one you're looking at.
I think it's called the 237, like the little kind of like main road.
Okay. Yeah,
But on
there's a
photos,
lot of that.
it looks crazy nice. It does look very nice. Pizzeria Liliana.
She was one of the founders. of the town. Liliana is original. There's still a few. You will still run into a couple of old Italians that actually I met a man last year at a party and he only speaks Italian still. He never learned Spanish.
That's funny.
Yeah, it is funny. So yeah, Liliana is a big thing in the community. I've only met her once, but I mean, she's busy.
So I want to hear about the DIY skills a little bit. It's incredibly impressive. When you were looking for your plot of land, were you looking for like you must have had to look into the rules about building structures and getting permits. Maybe you didn't get permits because it's just like a sort of like a wooden structure. Sometimes there's different rules. How did you kind of navigate that? This episode of the My Latin Life podcast is brought to you in part by job stacking. If you're a remote or hybrid worker looking to maximize your earning potential, then Rolf Haltza, author of Job Stacking, guarantees you'll be able to double your income by implementing his paycheck multiplication layering method. This is the exact system Rolf has used to take his own income and those of many others beyond $20K a month. With this method, Rolf contractually guarantees that you'll be able to double your income in 45 days. So, if you're interested in unleashing your earning potential and doubling your income, then click the link in the description and book a call with Rolf right now.
So, I have a very anti-authoritarian streak, and my attitude tends to be I would rather beg forgiveness than ask permission. So I'm not very good about getting permits. I don't like to. I don't like inspections. I don't like government. So I'm not inviting them in to see anything. Um, that structure, the A-frame cabin was actually, I wouldn't have needed a permit for it anyway because it doesn't have electricity. We have battery powered touch
Mm.
lights inside. It doesn't have plumbing. It's just a bedroom. So that was easy. But I mean, I will only apply for a permit if I absolutely have to because I like if I want to build a whole house and put electricity in it, I would have to get a permit because the electrical company would not install a meter without a permit. So at some point I'll have to do that. Um, but I don't like to. I'm pretty competent, right? Like for me, the permit, most permits are useless if you know what you're doing. It's mostly just the government being nosy,
Uh-huh.
right? Like if my house burns down and there's nobody around, that's my problem, right? I
So are
don't
you
have
living
insurance.
down there without city water or city electricity?
No, our house has those things. But the A-frame cabin's right at the way at the back of the property. So it's too, I could run water out there, no problem, right? With an irrigation line.
I see.
But electrical, it's too far. It would degrade with a line that long. I would need to install a separate meter out there. It's gotta be what, maybe 300 meters from the main house back to that cabin. So
Okay, so the main house connected to civilization.
yeah, yeah, we have city water and regular electricity. We're actually only 800 meters from the highway. So, and town. It's not very far at all. It just looks isolated
Mhm.
because almost everywhere in Costa Rica looks like that, just isolated completely. But you're usually almost never more than 1,000 meters from at least a grocery store. Like they're everywhere. That's the beauty of actually a lot of Latin America is like that, but Costa Rica in particular is it was built up just all these tiny little towns that sort of because most people walked or they were riding a horse or whatever, everything had to be close, right? So whenever
Mhm.
people expanded out from town, they would just build a new grocery store and build a new school because they wanted it close to where the people were living. So you can't go more than a couple of miles before you hit a school and a grocery store. And then a couple more miles down the road and there's another one, right?
Yeah.
So you're almost always walking distance from whatever you need.
Yeah, let's talk about the grocery store and maybe some differences there compared to Canada. What have you noticed? What could you tell the people?
There's a lot less. Like your selection's a lot less here. But that's, I mean, all of North America, there's kind of a glut of choices, right? The grocery stores are gigantic, and but if you're willing to live more simply, then that's not really a problem. Um, Food that I'm used to from North America can be very hard to find, and it's often very expensive because it's imported. So, for example, uh, peanut butter is like $9 a jar, which is expensive, or at
Mm,
least it is, or it was when I left Canada. Could be, it could be more than that in Canada now, from what I hear. But um, so it's that something like that would be really expensive here because Chicos don't eat that, right? So they have to import it for the gringos,
uh-huh.
and gringos complain often that those things cost money without realizing, well, if you're shipping it over on a boat or a plane, of course it's going to cost more, right? Like if you want that, you have to pay for it. Or you can change the way you eat, change the way you live. Like we've made lots of changes. There's lots of stuff we don't eat anymore because it's too expensive or too hard to get. So we just switch and eat things that are more local that I can grow.
And the quality of the fruit and vegetables is just outstanding. I know when my family comes and visits me down in Mexico or wherever I'm at, they're like, "This is the best mango I've ever had in my life. This is the best
Yeah.
whatever I've ever had in my life." Uh, it's it's just it's a huge upgrade.
Yeah, I mean, farmers markets are everywhere here. Most of your produce was grown within a few miles of your house, right? Like, so, and it grows all the time. There's always a region of this country that is growing something that like, for example, avocados. I never, I never have a problem finding avocados because even though my avocado tree isn't fruiting right now, up in the north of the country, they've got fields growing avocados. So like there's always a staggered growth depending on what part of the country they're in. So for the local stuff, pineapples, mangoes, avocados, there's always some part of the country that's growing it at the time. So it's not hard to find. It's always in season from somewhere, like
Yeah,
local. I mean, so, and I mean, the only real struggle with the Costa Rican produce is it's ugly, so you have to get used to buying ugly produce, right? Like a lot of North Americans have struggle with this,
you
right?
find
Like they want
I
their,
still find it's like beautiful and perfect.
no, they're ugly, right? Like my oranges are all lumpy and green. Like the
Really?
outside of them is green and lumpy. Yeah, my peppers are all twisted, right? Yeah, they're ugly, but because that's how it grows.
Uh huh.
Like in Canada, the produce they put on the shelf, that's all been genetically modified and like
I can't
really hyper
stand the
sterilized.
produce in Canada. I can't stand it. You look at something and it says like from Honduras, and you're like, sweet, yeah, this just spent 30 days on a shipping container and all this crap. It's like, oh my god, just get me out of here.
Yeah.
So I love the fruit and vegetables in Latin America. Everything you mentioned, papaya. I
Mhm.
could keep in fruits that don't barely even exist back home, right? Like guayaba and things like that.
Yeah. I post pictures on my Facebook all the time of these fruits that grow on my property, and my mom's always like, "What the heck is that?" Because she's never
Yeah.
seen it, right? One of the other struggles I have with the produce is chicos are really big on using pesticides.
Are they
I mean, Costa Rica has this really
pesticides?
grand reputation for their green initiatives, but I will put a lie to that. Your average Tico farmer, like we're talking the middle-aged Tico farmers that have been doing this their whole lives, they're just gonna nuke the bugs, right? Like it can be a real struggle to deal with the pests here. So I
Hmm.
understand the impulse, but lots of times it means that you're getting fruits and vegetables that are heavily sprayed.
Really?
It's very common. Yeah. So in our community here, we've made friends with a bunch of organic farmers, right? And we farm organically. So I can source things that are not like that, which is what I prefer. But the regular stuff from the grocery store often, yeah, it's been heavily sprayed, unfortunately. But I mean, I also lose half of everything. Like all of my orange trees are dead this year because of leafcutter ants. So I understand why they
Shoot.
do it. Yeah.
Another thing that's interesting about areas like this is usually there's like a circular economy, and when you have an abundance of produce, you share it with your neighbors, and then when they have something, they share it with you, right?
Yeah, our community group, we do that all the time. We share plant starts and seeds too, right? So, but often we'll do the swap out, right? Like I have a ton of avocados, and you have some pineapples. Let's switch, right? I have duck eggs coming in my eyeballs right now, so I'm working on a switch, some duck eggs for some fruit, probably oranges because my orange trees are all dead. So yeah, that happens a lot. It's good when you can get integrated into the community. A lot of the gringos that move here don't do that. And that's one of my
Mm,
biggest pet peeves is
integration.
the gringos. Yeah, well, it's the attitude about it, right? So I'm in a ton of the Facebook groups for expats in Costa Rica, right? Those groups can be filled with really good information, but they're also filled with a lot of people that will put up comments like, does anybody know where I can go where there's a large expat community? I want to make sure that there's a gated community, right? And I'm like, okay, 90% of the people who move here leave within 2 years. 90%.
Is that true?
And yes, that was the stat that we found when we were doing our research. And it was like, wow, I wonder why. So we did a ton of research about why that is. But I'm convinced one of the primary driving factors for that statistic is because people come here with the wrong expectations. They decide they want to find a large expat community, gated. They don't make friends with any of the locals. They only make friends with people that are like them from the country they left, right?
Hmm.
And life goes badly for them because the locals resent them, right? Because they don't learn Spanish and they treat the locals like staff all the time. And, um, they just spend all their day kind of sitting around with other people like them, reminiscing about the old place, right? And suddenly they get homesick and they get tired and they all reinforce each other's complaints about how terrible the country is that they've moved to and then they decide to leave, right? Like I see it all the time. It's if you're gonna leave your country and move to somewhere completely different, I your happiness is absolutely going to be strapped to how much you are willing to integrate into the existing community.
Hmm. And a big part of that is kids, right? You mentioned the abundance of schools. You also mentioned you
Mhm.
had 6 kids, so congratulations again. Great job. I guess maybe it sounds like maybe some of them came down, some of them stayed in Canada, or what's the deal? And would love to hear about the ones that came down to Costa Rica and their experience.
Well, all of our kids are adults, so most of them, four of them are up in Canada still. They've got jobs, they've got university. Um, I have a son who lives in Mexico. He's married to a Mexican girl, and they
Nice.
live in around Mexico City. But my daughter, Claudia, was living with us when we decided to move, and she was not, how old is she now? I guess she's 22, 23. So she was not at the time in a position to live on her own in Canada, especially with like COVID lockdowns still happening and she couldn't even work.
Hmm.
So, she had no choice but to come with us but she still lives with us now. She's saving up to go back. She'd really like to go back. She misses snow. I don't get it, but she does.
She misses the snow.
She misses, yeah. I don't know how this child became my child, but yeah, she misses the snow. And that's fair, right? Like this wasn't her choice. She just didn't have a choice. But she likes being down here. She likes growing things. She likes taking care of the animals. She likes building things like me. Like you said I did the A-frame cabin almost by myself, but the truth is she was like my second half. She helped me too, right? Like I
Unreal.
couldn't have done it without her. My husband as well pitched in quite a bit. He does all the heavy lifting, but Claude and I are the builders for sure. So it's been nice having her here, though. I love having her around. She's good company, and she's very competent, which is useful on the farm for sure.
Who's getting along best with the language?
Oh, my husband, my memory's terrible, so I struggle. I can learn it just fine, but remembering it by the next day is always a struggle. And I'm also usually a lot more tired because I mean, my husband's a very hard worker, but he can't outwork me. There's, I don't know anybody who outworks me actually. So I'm usually really tired, which might be the reason that I forget. Oh, that probably is the reason I forget a lot. But, I also skip my lessons sometimes because of that. But I have a really good ear. So what happens is when we go out together, I can usually understand what they're saying to me because I'm good at
Ah,
picking out the key words and getting the gist. But I just can't usually come up with a reply because recalling what words I need to give them an answer is difficult for me. But he's really good at that part. So I'll usually interpret what they're saying and then he'll come up with the reply. So it works out
and so
for
your
now.
did your daughter join a local high school, or she had already graduated?
No, she's already
Homeschool.
done. When we came here, she was 19 or 20.
Okay,
Yeah, 19. So she was already done high school. She was just working at the time when the lockdowns got rid of her job. So she's not learning Spanish. She tries, but she has dyslexia and a couple other issues that make it really hard for her. Like language is difficult for her. So she's probably never going to be really great at it, but she doesn't like leaving the farm anyway. She's very homebody. So for her, it works out. She's fine with just
mm,
hanging out, taking care of the farm while we go out. I'll sometimes drag her out on hikes and stuff because I want her to get out and about. But I mean, we have 3 acres. She has plenty of space to get out and get some sunlight and touch some grass without having to actually interact with people, which is
for
the
sure.
part that she hates. So,
Yeah, yeah. It takes time. I mean, I've been learning the language for like 8 years, so uh, it definitely takes time. So
mhm.
3 acres, I think people wouldn't believe how much food can be produced by even just 1 acre or a half acre. It's pretty crazy, especially that kind of Costa Rica land that you have. This episode of the My Latin Life podcast is brought to you in part by Crema Social. Crema Social is like TikTok for international dating. It's an app you can download right now on your phone, and 3 out of 4 people on Crema are single women. The app was founded in Colombia, so unsurprisingly, there are a lot of Latinas on the app, by the way. So, how does it work? Crema Social is a social meal experience where you invite a hot girl for a lunch date via video call and food delivery. New concept, so you'll have to try it out for yourself, but this is probably the best way to meet Latinas before you visit the country. So if you're in Latin America or planning to visit Latin America, download Crema Social now and start getting dates right away. There will be a link in the description to download, or just search Crema Social on your favorite app store. Have fun, guys.
Yeah, especially when like us, I mean, I'm kind of ketovore, right? So we focus mostly on meat, right? So I have all the birds. We have turkeys and ducks and chickens
No way.
and eggs.
What are
Like
the
I could
ducks
live my
for?
whole life.
You eat the ducks?
Eggs. Well, yeah, we eat the ducks too, but
Duck
mostly
eggs?
for eggs. Oh yeah.
You eat the duck eggs?
Love the duck eggs. Have you never had a duck egg?
Uh, maybe, but yeah, I didn't. Yeah, I don't know.
So chickens have about a 70% lay rate, but ducks have a 90% lay rate. So they lay all the time.
What's a
And
lay
their
rate?
eggs, like how much they lay, like once a day or once every couple days. You know what I mean?
So lay
Like a
rate
duck
is
will
like
lay an egg
percentage
every,
of days that the.
yeah. So, I mean, I get a ton more eggs from the duck.
I gotta check this on Grok.
But I mean, duck eggs are a lot larger and they're more nutritious than chicken eggs too. So if I can get more of them and they're better for you anyway, then that's a total win. They're delicious too.
Okay, and you have turkeys too.
Yeah.
And what's the strategy? You try to have them in like a barn thing, hen house, pretty far from the main house, so that because it's pretty loud, right?
It is loud. No, they're right next to the house. Um, I mean, I'm an early riser anyway, so, and I gotta get up to let them out. So if they're loud, that's no big deal. It's kind of like my alarm clock, right? So
Uh
I'll get
huh.
up at like 4:30.
Oh my
My
god.
daughter sometimes struggles with the noise, but she just sleeps through it, right? Like she's all right with that. She grew up in a house with six kids. She could sleep through anything, believe me. So, the advantage to
Jeez.
having them close to the house is pest control because scorpions and snakes are a really big issue here because of
Hmm.
the climate. So, the birds, I almost never see a scorpion around here, and I never see snakes because I'm pretty sure the birds, like if they get anywhere near the house, they get picked off by something. So that works out. So I mean, it would be nice to have the ducks further from the house because their poop stinks, right? Like it's brutal, but they serve a purpose, so we tolerate it because it's better to have them closed. Then also, at night I can listen for if there's a problem with predators, right?
Uh,
Like they'll make noise,
what kind
but
of
if I'm too far
predators?
away, well, I just lost a chicken yesterday. So they have a thing called a tolomuco, which is like a very large vicious weasel.
Tolamuco,
Tolomuco.
a tyra.
Yeah,
Is that the
they're
same thing?
nasty little
Tolamuco
bitches.
or tyra?
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, they're very common and they're vicious. They're large and they'll go right at they're nocturnal. We have a large dog, but my husband has her at our other house this week, so that thing found its window when it was safe to show up and stole one of my chickens. Well, stole most of her, I should say. So we have that.
Wow.
Boa constrictors are a problem here too. I haven't seen one, but I have a friend who had turkeys and found a 12-foot boa in his turkey shed last year. So there's those kinds of problems. There's coyotes here too, but we're surrounded by farms.
Uh-huh.
So the farmers around here, I think, keep them in check pretty good. I've never seen a coyote, but I occasionally hear them in the background, like out in the distance. Skunks. Every once in a while, I'll smell a skunk, and I know skunks will take out a chicken if they can, right?
Mm.
Um, I've been told there's raccoons here, but I've never actually seen one. So
And do you have a dog?
yeah, we have a Rhodesian Ridgeback.
Rhodesian
She's a very
Ridgeback.
good, yeah, she's a good guard dog, but she's not here today. She's not here this week. She's with my husband.
Yeah, that's a cool dog. It's like kind of like a hunting dog, huh?
They were actually it's funny because Rhodesian Ridgebacks were bred to fight lions in Africa.
There you go.
That was their purpose when they bred those dogs. So,
If it can
yeah,
fight a lion, it can fight a Tolomuco.
that's what we figured. Just she takes care of the possums. Actually, yeah, we have possums too. I'll occasionally find a dead one on the path that she's left for us to prove that she's earned her food.
Wow. I
I mean, there's
I'm
jungle
blown
cats
away
here,
by this
but
Tolomuco. I haven't seen I haven't seen this.
yeah, they're terrible. So they're like a weasel, but they're a lot bigger. And I
I
mean, they had the terrible claws.
have to ask somebody. Yo, have you seen this thing? No,
Mm.
that's cool though. What are some other like adaptations to, or cultural shocks you've experienced in Costa Rica? Or if someone came to you and said, "Hey, I love what you're doing. I see the YouTube video. I want to do the same thing." The dream, the homestead dream in Latin America. What advice would you have for them?
Learn to be patient. Because, I mean, a lot of tropical areas have a reputation for like island time, right? Kind of casual attitude about time
Uh huh.
and constraints, right? In Costa Rica, they call it pura vida. That's not just a saying. People think that that's just a saying, right? But it's not. It's absolutely the way life is here. And if you need something done, it's probably not going to get done in the time frame you want, right? Like you have to be patient. If you need something from the hardware store and they don't have it, they're not getting it by tomorrow. It's probably a week or two if you're lucky, right? Sometimes it can be longer.
Mm,
If you hire somebody to come do work for you, like an electrician or whatever, he'll tell you he'll show up tomorrow, but he might not. And he might call you to tell you he's not coming, but maybe not, right?
hmm.
So then it can be really frustrating. That was the hardest thing for me to adjust to because I am a hyper productive person, right? Like constantly getting something done. I don't like sitting still ever. Um, and I don't like beating around the bush and I don't like things that take too long. I get very impatient. So
Hmm.
that adjustment for me was a very hard one. I thought it was going to be harder than it actually ended up being. It's,
Hmm.
it seems when you don't have the house full of 6 kids and you don't have a full-time job that you're trying to ram everything into a weekend that you have free, that it's easier to be more casual about how long things take. So
Hmm.
that helped me, but it has been an adjustment. It can be really frustrating. It's lucky for me actually that I prefer to do almost everything myself anyway. So just relying on me works out pretty good, but the times when I have to rely on locals can be frustrating. I understand why people get frustrated with that part of it. It's a completely different cultural attitude.
Yeah, for context to the audience, I've seen Ginger build like a set of stairs out of aluminum. I have no idea how you
It
did
was
that.
steel.
Steve, it was crazy. Um, so patience. What other advice would you have for people thinking about relocating?
Just be willing to adjust and change. Adaptability is vital survival skill. Whenever you, I mean, everywhere, anywhere you go, if you're going to move somewhere that's different from what you're used to, adaptability is your biggest survival skill. Without it, you're going to be miserable. You're going to make everybody around you miserable,
Hmm.
and you're probably going to fail, right? So it's fine if it doesn't work out the way you expected it to. If you can work with what you're getting, right? Like we run into many roadblocks and struggles here, but I mean, you just have to have the right attitude about it. If you decide that you're going to make it work, even if it doesn't look the way you expected it to look when you started, then it's a lot easier to accept what you get.
So regarding those roadblocks, any stories that you'd be willing to share? Any funny stories of I don't know, funny Tika moments?
Oh, I don't know. I'd have to think about it. Can I come back to that one?
Yeah, yeah. For me, it's like,
Is
wow,
it
you
just
would. It's like, yeah, this, it's like thing number 1,200 that would never happen in Canada, and it's like some guy flying down the street in like a. Like, I don't know.
Well, we got really lucky. I mean, we haven't had a lot of the major problems that a lot of people have, but I think part of it is because of that adaptability, right? Like my husband is the chillest, most get along, go along to get along kind of guy that there is, right? So he's like fine. Um, so we've gotten really lucky. Most of the things are just funny, quirky things, right? Because I do all of our own stuff, and I do a lot of renovations, getting used to the way things are done before me. So that's kind of funny actually. The redoing the plumbing in our cabin was funny because the way they do it here is completely different and mostly wrong actually. I hate to say it, but it's true. Pecos are very big
Mm,
on just doing their own thing, right? They don't hire people. They are the people. They just whatever. They're like literally like the duct tape man, right? Like whatever. They
uh-huh.
just slap some duct tape on it. That'll be fine. It'll work, right?
Uh-huh.
Um, but it means that lots of times it gets done wrong. Like sometimes spectacularly wrong. I was just reminiscing with somebody on X this morning about the plumbing here when we moved in. They installed the plumbing and they never put air vents on their drains. Do you know anything about plumbing?
No, you make me want to know more.
Do you want to know more? It's fascinating,
I
right?
do. I want to know more. I want to know more.
So if you don't put air behind your water, eventually you create a vacuum, like a suction thing, where it'll actually just back up. So when you have a drain, air has to come in behind the water to push the water out the drain. But if you don't put that air vent in, right? Like say you're flushing a toilet,
Uh-huh.
where's the air going to come from to push it?
Uh-huh.
If you don't do that, then eventually a number of flushes and it's created so much suction from the vacuum that it all just comes back up the pipe, right? Because it's got
Uh-huh.
to fill it with something. So it's really important to put an air vent. Like most houses in North America have something called a main stack, which is like a huge pipe in the corner of the house and it goes up through the roof and
Main
vents out the
stack.
top. Yeah.
Main
So
stack
it'll
pipe.
vent out the roof and there will be like sewer gases that come up from that. So you want it venting away from the house so that those gases don't come in the smell, right? But I mean, here they don't have anything like that. So you have to install individual vents depending on your whatever your fixture is. So like when we first came here, my daughter would flush the toilet and eventually she'd be like, my toilet won't refill now. I go, I know why. So I had to go around and install air vents on all of the drains to correct that problem. So that's one of those things that's pretty common here. Um, you'll vent like your gray water from the kitchen sink out into the yard, right? Like that's totally normal. I mean,
Uh-huh.
I don't need to put that in my septic. So, but one of the Airbnbs we stayed in, theirs vented out into the yard, but they didn't have a P trap on the drain. So cockroaches used to climb up the pipe and pop up into the kitchen sink from
Ooh.
the yard. So stuff like that it was a bit of an adventure to discover and problem solve. But I mean, those are minor things.
How did you learn this stuff? Did you work in this in Canada?
No, I've always done my own stuff though, whenever something needed doing. When we lived in Canada in 2016, we had a big house fire and most of the house had to be, actually the whole house had to be gutted and then rebuilt. And about, I don't know, at the framing stage, we had to fire our contractor because he was ripping us off. And I didn't have time to find a new contractor, so I just took over and finished the rebuild myself. So that meant most of the plumbing. I had like a legitimate plumber come in to do a couple things because in Canada, to close out the permit, I needed stamps from officials that have
Uh-huh.
degrees, right? So I had a plumber come out and do a couple of things, but a lot of the plumbing I did myself, right? At least Home Depot books and YouTube videos. I'm not even lying. That's it.
Home Depot books. Home Depot
Remember
sells
those Home
books?
Depot books? Well, they used to. I don't know if they still do. A big hardcover book, Home 1, 2, 3. I think
Like
I
for
even still have one.
dummies. Like
Yeah,
plumbing for
just any
dummies type of
basic
thing.
home maintenance, right? Tiling, woodworking,
Uh-huh.
carpentry. Yeah,
So
I've
just
done it
read the
all.
book and then do it.
Well, there's a lot of trial and error in between because I screwed it up a few times too. But I've always been really handy. I've
I
always
want
been
you to be my
poor.
aunt or something. Like this is insane. Like if my girl was able to do this, I'd be like slightly I'd be like scared, you know? I'd be happy, but I'd be like this is nuts. I don't know how you is
Well,
your husband is he a handyman too or
no, no, definitely not. He'll be the first person to admit it too, right? Like not, he's not inclined that way at all. He can be very clumsy. He's my heavy lifter, so he can follow instructions very well, right? So
uh-huh.
he always helps, right? But he's not interested in doing stuff like that. He doesn't like getting, I mean, he used to not like getting his hands dirty. He's been pretty good since we moved here, but um no, he's a thinker, right? He does all my tech
I'm
support.
a thinker too. I'm a thinker and a tech support too. So I'm gonna get my girl just reading Home Depot books, translated into Spanish, and Spanish DIY YouTube channels. And
Is she a Latina?
yeah, yeah, of course.
Good luck with that. No, no, she's not going to do that. Latinas have very, very traditional views about men and women's roles, right?
Uh
You're
huh.
never getting. I I get I get funny looks all the time from they're lovely. My neighbors and that are
Uh
very
huh.
wonderful.
They think
They're
you're
very
crazy.
supportive. They do think I'm crazy, right? Like the men and the women. Like the guys at the hardware store
I'm
for a
sure they're
long time had
impressed.
no idea what to make of me, right? Like they're all very confused, but they've
So
all been really good.
tell me about this, please. You know, I won't take up too much more of your time,
Yeah.
but you know, maybe like 10 minutes more. But I want to hear about how it goes when you go to the hardware store and you're like, yeah, I need like the 3/8 nut and the bolt and all this.
So first couple of times it was weird because they just didn't know what to make of me, right? I show up pretty dirty, so because I'm usually halfway in the middle of the job, right? So, but I tell you, the trick, and it's not just here. I always did it when I was in Canada too. Oh shit. Something big just fell in the yard. I think one of my banana trees just fell down. I hope nothing got killed by it. Anyway, I'll go look at it in a bit. Um, when I was in Canada too, it's just the way that I am, but cookies really helps. Like I bake cookies.
Cookies.
I've shown up at that hardware store with plates and plates of cookies.
Wow.
Yeah, you just show up with some cookies and you'd be surprised how helpful they want to be to the lady that brings cookies. Like I don't always bring cookies, but like on Father's Day, I brought a
Uh-huh.
couple plates of cookies and some muffins, right? For all the guys working there, their dads, right? On Christmas, they get a huge box of baked goods, right? They help me almost every day. So it makes sense to do something like, and they're my neighbors, right? Like these people live
Uh-huh.
in this little town. So word
And so
spreads fast
what
when you're
do
nice.
Costa Ricans what type of cookie do the locals like? Hey guys, quick break from the episode to tell you about BitRefill. BitRefill allows you to shop online and in person without banks, converting your crypto directly into merchant balance. We're talking gift cards to Nike, Amazon, Apple, Airbnb, Hotels.com, and many more, all paid for with crypto. BitRefill offers more than 10,000 gift card options in 180 countries all across Latin America, including Brazil, Colombia, Mexico, Argentina, El Salvador, and many more. You can also apply the code MyLatinLife at checkout to get 10% back on your first purchase. Go to bitrefill.com for more information.
I don't know. Like cookies aren't actually that big a thing here. So they
Exactly.
love mine because we don't usually get cookies, right? Like I made chocolate chips. Christmas time I'll make shortbread and these ones that I make, they're
Oat
called
milk.
thumbprint cookies that everybody loves. So yeah, I can be very popular when I need to be. All you have to
Okay.
do is be nice, right? And it helps also that I usually know what I'm talking about, right? And this was a hack for back in Canada too. You go into the hardware store, you always get hardware store, the scrapyard, the auto parts shop, right? I always found I got way better help once they understood that I knew what I was talking about, right? Like I
Right.
wasn't just some
So
girl
how
in
do you
there.
communicate that in Costa Rica with the language barrier?
Well, I mean, I'm not bad. I'm still learning, but I know enough usually, and I bring my phone, so we have Google Translate,
Uh-huh.
and if you try, then they'll usually help. Ticos are very friendly and they're non-confrontational, like almost to a fault. So, you usually get decent enough treatment from them, especially if you try. Like if you try to speak the language, they'll usually work with you. We every once in a while I run into a problem depending on the person, but most of the time I have no trouble at all. They're usually really, really good. But I think it's really important that you try because I've seen people that I know who have been very helpful to me and very patient with me. And I've seen a gringo walk into the store, not even try to speak Spanish and with a bit of an attitude and they completely change, right? Like
Mm.
they turn into a different person that suddenly becomes kind of dumb, right? Like, oh, I don't know if I can help you. So they can be obstinate if you give them
Uh,
attitude. I don't
yeah.
have that in me.
Attitude's everything. And you show them
Hmm.
the photo and you're like, this is my cabanita. And they're like, you built this? They're like, you, and you're like, yeah,
Oh,
like,
they love it. Yeah. The lady who owns the hardware store and the grocery store at the corner, well, she came and brought me some strawberry plants one day and we were in the middle of the build for the cabin. And she'd seen me come get materials for like the last couple of weeks already. So we brought her out back to see it. She was quite impressed actually. She's, I mean, they're not used to that. They're not used to people like me that do that, but
uh-huh.
like teachers are very hard workers and they are all very much do-it-yourselfers too. So I think they at least understand and appreciate that I do that. Like I get very good reception. There's a lot of gringos that come here and they won't do anything for themselves. They hire somebody for everything, right? But those
Mm,
people I see get treated differently, and I
mm.
understand why. 'Cause, like I wouldn't like somebody in my community that was I mean, it's an economic benefit, I guess, but the attitude is kind of not great, I think. I think you get back what you put out.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Well, I don't want to take up too much more of your time. I'll let you, tend to that tree that fell or
Yeah,
whatever.
I hope
Um,
I think I know
but
which one it was and I'm worried.
I get such a kick out of I can vividly like see this picture and it just makes me laugh of kind of you at the hardware store and them checking out. So people need to check out the YouTube channel. Again, the YouTube is a ginger in the wild or handy ginger gal. That's a tongue twister. Handy
Yeah,
ginger gal. And the link will be in the description to the podcast, so people can go check out the Twitter as well as the YouTube. You've been doing great on Twitter. Is that's kind of like your outlet a little bit?
I love Twitter. I probably love Twitter too much, actually. I've loved Twitter for years. Like it's my favorite. I have Instagram. I never go there. I have a TikTok account, but I haven't even opened that in 3 years, right? Like I just can't get into the other platforms. I love Twitter. I have so many peeps there. Like, and people know me there, right? Like, it's
Hmm.
nice because you put something up and you'll actually have a conversation about it with people who they know you, right? Like they get you. So I love it there.
Yeah, yeah, it's great for the networking and like-minded people for sure. I've definitely met up with a lot of people in person around the world, kind of from the platform.
And later today, I'll be posting a video of me building a rocket stove, which is what I have to finish doing today.
A rocket.
Rocket stove.
What's a rocket stove?
Oh, you better Google it. Google image search.
Rocket stove. Okay. Okay. Cool.
So I call a lot of birds here, but you call birds, you gotta dunk them in a pot of boiling water to loosen the feathers up before you pluck them.
Uh huh.
But boiling water, especially when you're doing like 5 or 6 birds a day, boiling a pot of water on propane gets expensive. So a rocket stove helps you efficiently boil water with very little wood, which is free. So
This is so cool. Well, when I get my homestead going, my Latin American dream homestead, which I promise you is happening, slowly but surely, I know who to talk to. You know how to. You're gonna help me get my hen house set up. I'm gonna get all the animals. I want the eggs. Yeah, it's gonna be great.
sure, I might even teach your girlfriend a few things if she's interested.
Okay. Yeah. If I'm ever in southern Costa Rica, I will hit you up.
Mm.
It could definitely happen. But thank you so much for joining us. This is so interesting to hear about your story, and I love it. I love it so much. So why don't you take this time, Ginger, and tell the audience where they can find you and reach out to you, and any final message that you'd like to share with the audience.
I think you've already told everybody where to find me. X is the place. I am very open to answering questions. I get people all the time ask me questions about moving to Costa Rica and other things too. I'm very happy to share knowledge, right? That's the only reason I know how to do what I do is because other people shared their knowledge with me. So that's never going to be a problem. I think if I was going to, like a major takeaway to anybody who's thinking about it, or even people who aren't thinking about it because they think it's going to be too hard, it's never as hard as you think it's going to be. If you approach it with a good attitude, you can make almost anything work, and it's way worth it, right? Like we live in Costa Rica beautifully on a fraction of what it costs to live in Canada.
Hmm.
And all the fear mongering about crime and bugs and all the other silly things that people put in as roadblocks to so they don't have to think too hard about making changes. It's those are just limiting beliefs. They're not real, right?
Mm,
Like if you do it smart, then you can get away with it.
mm.
And it works out really good. I would never go back. Never. Like this is my home forever now. I don't miss Canada. My husband's never been back since we left. I've been a couple times, but I would never go back to live again. It's not worth it.
So fascinating. Thank you again, Ginger, for sharing your story.
Thanks for inviting me.
Absolutely. This has been another episode of the My Latin Life podcast. Again, our guest today is Ginger. You can find her on Twitter. There's a link in the description. And guys, please subscribe to the podcast wherever you're listening to this: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Twitter. Please subscribe to the channel. Please follow, leave a review. Really helps us grow the podcast. And we'll see you in the next episode. Ciao for now.